Yo, 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 how we doing, everybody? It's your boy Tanner Rocks back again. And today, I ain't even going to waste any time. We're going to jump right into the fan questions. So for today, I'm going to be answering some fan questions. Not all of them. I got quite a few, so I'm going to be splitting them up into 2, possibly 3 parts. But I put on my Instagram, my YouTube, my social medias, like, hey, if you got any questions about the night shift, my music process, anything, let me know. But specifically, try to keep it toward the night shift. I had a lot of people ask some questions, so we're going to tackle that today. Get through, I think I got 14 today, so let's get it. First question, what inspired the night shift? The night shift for me was inspired. There's a song on there called Night Shift, and that talks about it all, about what really got it going. But I worked the night shift at a child psych ward, and so they're all most of the time sleeping, so it just leaves me there to be in my head, in my mind all night, which is another track, in my mind. So I just got to thinking, right, about everything from, money, family, religion, friends, politics, if music is for me, if my job is a dead-end job, like every single thing under the face of the sun was just running through my head. And the way I know to get out stress and overthinking and stuff is I'll put it into a song, and this was a lot more than just a freestyle or a single. So, I wrote the night shift and I heard it and I was like, man, you know what? There's so much more to talk about on a night shift. And that is how the Night Shift album came about, got inspired, because there's so much to talk about. There's so much I'm going through and everybody on night shift that people don't really get to see the behind the scenes. So I know you're not really seeing the behind the scenes, but I'm explaining it to you through, music, through my mind, what I've been dealing with on night shift. That's kind of what inspired, that is what inspired the album. Next question. Why 30 tracks, bruv? Not knocking, just curious. Look, I could have put 40, 50 tracks on that. However, I'm with DistroKid. I think they only let you upload 35 at a time. But this wasn't about, let me rephrase that. This was about creating a story, chapter by chapter, through my experience, my life, my thoughts, specifically on night shift, right? So there was just 30 tracks, man. There was just so much to talk about. Like I said, love, lost, family, friends, maybe religion, politics, the haters, the naysayers, traveling. Like, there's so much. So 30 tracks, to be completely honest. I know it's a lot, especially with some attention span of some listeners, but if you really sit down to give this 30-track album a listen through, I know it's a big ask, but you will walk away with something that you didn't see before, you didn't feel before, you didn't know before, whatever it is, right? So that's why 30 tracks, bruv. Next question. What are 1 or 2 songs that mean the most to you from this album, and why? Oh, and before I get into this question, I'm not putting the people's tags up there because some people, I don't know about privacy. Some people don't want to be tagged. Some people do, and if you do, then comment on this video and let me know. I'll throw your tag in there. But some people want to keep it private. So for that reason, I'm putting up the questions and not the profile, if that makes sense. Anyway, what are 1 to 2 songs that mean the most to you from this album, and why? They all mean the most to me, man. It's tough to choose 1 or 2 songs that are like forefront of the album because they're all good and great in their own ways. I will have to say Night Shift, the song Night Shift, because that is regarded, the last couple questions, what inspired the Night Shift. So Night Shift for sure. And if I had to choose, I hate when people say, oh, I don't know, it could be 1, it could be 7, I don't know. So I'm just going to give you an answer anyways, even though knowing that I like and love each track on this album equally, I think they each provide a different important purpose. But in my mind would be the second one, because that one's 3 verses. I was about to get 4 verses. I'm like, I can't do that. That one really talks about the struggles in my mind at night shift. So Night Shift and In My Mind, if I had to say 2, that's what I'd choose. But they're all great. What was the hardest, next question, what was the hardest, most stressful part about this album? Ooh, that's a good one. Look, in the past, I've had some stressful and hard times with artists, like features, sending in stuff, sending it in already mixed, and I'm like, that. No, man, no, come on. People being disrespectful and smart-assy. But this time, the features I have on this album were flawless, man. I'm not even kidding you. It was like communication was perfect. Like, they just absolutely dove into some crazy verses, even a chorus you'll hear. But the hardest part, oh, I got it. So my laptop had crashed, right? That's what I'm looking at the questions on right now. My laptop had crashed about maybe 60, 70% through the album. I had almost the whole album, is what I do. I write everything, then I record everything, then I mix everything, and then I master everything, and then get that sound, right? And I'm like, oh, well, this needs to be changed. Well, this needs to be changed. Well, I can spice up to be here. Then I'll revert back to the mixing phase, and then finish the mixing, and then get back to the mastering again, if that makes sense. So I had about 17, 18 of those done, and to a spot where I thought I was ready to release, and boom, my laptop crashes. So I was furious, but there's I can't see it right now. I got a 2 terabyte hard drive back there. I had to spend a week offloading everything from my laptop because I do reaction videos on YouTube as well. It takes up a lot of space. So the hardest part for me was probably bouncing back after I lost over half the album and had to restart it all. I had the lyrics. I'd have to rewrite the lyrics. I had those, but every mix master was done. I had to start from the beat that I made that was saved, and then just a blank page on Logic, and had to get going. So that was the hardest. It was really depressing too, because I had been working so hard for so long, and then to have that happen, it was a gut punch. It was a gut punch. I was excited to be shown. I had some friends coming over a couple days after that too. I remember because I had to cancel on them. I was like, I can't do this, man. I got to finish this album. This shit's causing a problem. But I was excited to show them part of the album too, and it didn't work out. So that was the hardest and most stressful part for me. It didn't have to do with the creation or the process of the album itself in general. It was the technical difficulties that, lo and behold, always something got to mess up. If you're Tanner Ox, something's always going to mess up. So I bounced back, and I had a level head finishing the rest of the project. So there we go. What are some other external struggles you dealt with making this album? People. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Look, when I was making this album, there was a feature on here. I'm not going to say his name because don't really give a shit about him, and he's useless. But didn't like, I had posted something, I can't even remember now, about like EBTs or whatever. And he just lost it. And him and one of his friends that, you know, we were pretty tight. We were pretty close in the music industry. They just lost it. Thought I was being rude, disrespectful, like all this other bullshit. I'm like, bro, I literally said one comment about an EBT card, and it just set them the wrong way. And then they started running my name through the mud. They started telling their people that all this characteristic traits and moral indignities of myself that are completely false. So I had to deal with that. And I try. There are times, I ain't gonna lie, there are times I voluntarily jump into the drama. But not usually, very rarely. Like, I try to stay away from that drama, knowing I know who I am, my homies, my family know who I am, and anybody running my name through the mud is garbage. But when they were running my name, my morals, my character, like who I am as a person through the mud, I had to stand up for that. So I did jump into a little bit of that drama, and that was a huge external struggle, because now I'm like, it's just not where my mind needed to be at the creation of the album. And it was a homie who I thought was chill too. It wasn't a comment about like out the top, like I didn't say any names. It wasn't like name calling. It's like, good, now these people gonna have to work. And man, it was brutal. But nevertheless, again, I'm Tanner Ox. I bounce back from everything. So no matter what, if that's, I believe everything happens for a reason. So that was meant to happen. The friendship there was starting to dwindle. I noticed him, you know, kind of kicking it with other homies and not inviting me. So I'm like, man, where do I stand in this friendship? So when it happened, I wasn't like hurt, like, man, I'm losing a friend. I was like, yo, bitch ass better not be throwing my name through the mud like that. Like, meet me in person. Meet me in person. That's why a track I've got on the album titled Fuck That, which was supposed to be with the homie throwing my name through the mud. The track was about people running their mouths behind your back, loving to talk. And I'm saying, fuck that. And then he goes and runs his mouth behind my back. I'm like, you got something to say, bro, say it to my face, and we can squash this. We can handle it. Whether it's communication or whether it's your face that gets squashed, we can handle it. So as you see, it was definitely kind of stressful in that aspect. But other external struggles other than that, you know, just about a busy schedule, trying to balance out the schedule, man, working the night shift, still having friends and family where I talk to and hang out with, Christmas, Thanksgiving. Took a trip with my boy Tubbs to Tennessee. We seen a Titans game. So it's like that stuff, just balancing out still trying to get this 30-track album done was a lot. So, next question. What song was written when you were at your lowest point in the creation of this album? Ooh. That's a good one. That's a good one. I got to think on that for a second. What the lowest point? Because that's one thing about me. I know, like, how I was feeling when I wrote a song. And I'll probably say there's two songs. Oh, man, that's a good one, though. Because there's like there was a few that was written when I was at my low point. I'll say maybe three. All Right, the last song on the album, which is just stating, like, no matter what happens, I'm going to be all right. It was like a kind of a positive twist when I was going through my low times, trying to convince myself everything's going to be good, even if it isn't. Another one, the other one was... My bad there. Mad there. The other one was I've Been Struggling. That one is, it says it there. I've been struggling. That was written, I remember, because I was really, really struggling. I won't get into all the details, but that was another one. And then, oh man, I'm trying to scroll through these and see if there's any others that like were really written at my lowest, because I think they were all like... Yeah, no, I think that was it. That was probably the songs that I wrote when I was at my lowest. The only other one that I might say is I May Not Know, because that one I was kind of low, but it wasn't like a depression, kind of like sadness low, like I've been struggling and all right. That one was more saying I may not know what life might have to hold. I might walk slow, but there's no way that I'll walk away. Saying like, I might get thrown these challenges. I might get punched in the face. I might get kicked and stomped when I'm down. But I'm going to keep walking. I'm going to keep going to my goals. I'm going to keep making it. And that, again, was a song where I'm kind of trying to tell myself, like, not as much as in all right, but like tell myself, I'm all right. Like, you got this. Keep going, boss. Like, just telling myself that. So, yeah, that's a great question. I love that. That's a great question. All right. Next question. Which song was written when you were at your highest, happiest point? Okay, same person. Okay. See, there's so many. It depends on what, like, highest happy you mean. Like fulfillment, pride, ego, happiness. Like, I'm, like, internally happy, if that makes sense. Or happiness in the form of freedom. Like, me and my boy traveled to Vegas, to Nashville. We got trips to Buffalo, New York, Cleveland, international planned. Like, that happiness. So I'll kind of give one from each different feeling. So while like the travel and happiness and like freedom that the life offers that I explained on Night Shift, I'd probably say is Back to Vegas. And yeah, Back to Vegas and like Way Up. I'll give you two. Back to Vegas and like Way Up. Because like Way Up is saying like, I'm taking flights, I'm way up, I stay up, and all day I choose to run laps now. I stay up, no way that I choose to turn back now. So it's saying like, look, I'm traveling, I got that freedom, I'm moving, I ain't turning back, I'm keeping going. And like Way Up, you traveling through the skies, baby. Back to Vegas, that's me and my boy Tubbs hitting it back to Vegas, staying at the Aria, the Mandalay. Oh, come on now. So those are probably two at the like travel happiest. For me personally, internal happiness, I'd say Stress I Had It Big is definitely one where I was like, you know what? And lo and behold, it's the second track on the album, but it was one of the last songs that was written and recorded. With all the stress, it's pretty much like, stress had it big, now it's little. Sick to make a beat, all started with this fiddle. Sick I bring the heat, do not trap me in the middle. Stress I had it big, now feel pretty little. Like, that one was me saying like, fuck the stress, man. Like, it's out of here. It's gone. I know I'm going to feel it, but I know how to deal with it. I know I'm going to feel in it, but I know how to deal with it, right? So this one was really me internally happy, saying I think there's one part, like, out of many parts of life and personally that I figured out about myself that's taken me, a while. Stress. So that one was probably the most written at my happiness. But if I had to give you another one, let's go with... Blessed Now is a good one, or Blessed Now. Yeah, Blessed Now was like internally the one that made me like, whoo, happy, come on now. So, yeah, that's a great, I like that string of questions. That was a great question right there. All right.